keep the meeting for a time.
Really quickly, everyone, if you have not voted yet for last straw, we have several paper ballots. See Bill Harris, if you're a member in that back. If you'd like to become a member with an introductory price of only $5, right? You can become a member, see Bill Harris and become a member, and then you can vote. And we'll be voting in people in just a few hours, in a few days. And then if you have thoughts, proponoi, give them to our secretary to make sure they get jotted down and reviewed and not forgotten in the ether.
Let me make a comment here.
Yes.
You can only vote if you were a member at the time that the voting started.
Why is that?
Because that's the rule. That's the
An hour after the voting started?
No.
You're saying when voting began months ago?
Yes, when voting began months ago, I made a list of everybody who wasn't.
Okay, so you cannot suddenly become a member and then vote.
No.
Okay. But you can suddenly become a member and vote next year.
And we can see if maybe it would be worth voting to change that bylaw to encourage new members to suddenly bite the bullet and do something spontaneous and become a member, because that seems like a logical thing to do if you're suddenly interested in Esperanto.
Yeah, you know more about
Vote for me.
I suppose.
There are 2,300 counties in the United States, and each of them has a certain rule about whose votes get counted. So in my county, you can vote anytime you want, but your votes will be thrown away because only those that were registered until the time that deadline will be counted. You can let people vote, they feel empowered, but
Where does it say that in the bylaws that you had to have joined by then?
I'm not seeing it here, I've got it pulled up.
Because if it isn't, I'd rather have the vote written down and then we'll make a note that it's the vote we have to throw out.
Yeah, and
That seems like disenfranchisement or like.
that seems to be what Orlando was saying. So Orlando was just saying that in his county, everyone gets to vote, and if it turns out that you weren't eligible to vote, then we just throw your vote away and you don't ever know, but at least you got to vote.
yeah, because otherwise Thursday day vote.
Right.
The board shall establish a valid campaign procedures designed to make our voter.
So at some
If
point, the board
we have
has.
that procedure written elsewhere officially for people to know that, all right, if we come over next year.
Alex, that's a problem. That's a problem for future us to write down what the heck all of our procedures are. That's been a problem for future us for a while.
Okay, well, that affects current now,
Yes.
someone who maybe is in the chamber wondering.
I have a list of what's essentially people who didn't vote. So if your name is on the list.
Kontrolliston, se vi povas, sed ancora ne voĉdonis, vi estas sur ĉi tiu listo. Do kontrolu.
Vision to Mark is the list of media.
My name is on there. John Dale.
Here's what I'm going to do because I'm a teacher. I'm going to grab my cell phone. Dry erase marker. I'm going to put this here. You know?
Paper ballots are right there.
Paper ballots. All right. So we want to talk about Esperanto-USA's future, right?
Yes.
You have a question?
Yeah,
This might be easy to talk about.
yeah, and
Yes.
just to kind of give clarity to what's going on and we say that's a proposal and we can make a decision about how to do it. So my proposal is that we did the whole until 6 o'clock, guided by Hans. That's the proposal. If we get to 6 o'clock, or 5:50 and we think, you know what, if we actually want to stay a little longer, we can deal with that at that point. But otherwise, we can all plan that we're going to watch after 6, maybe we.
Alright, so we have a proposal for a committee of the whole until 6 o'clock, guided by Hanso.
Okay, question, is committee of the whole, since I'm not sure what that is that just a discussion or is that a decision-making thing?
It's, as I understand it, it's just a discussion. Everybody gets to have their voice heard.
It's a discussion that does not need to be bound by the normal deliberative rules.
But the idea is that it is going to help the body come to a possible decision or set of decisions that then would be voted on in the future, right?
Exactly.
It's not exactly a brainstorming session, right? It's a conversation, and I think what you had said before, Brandon, you want to talk about is about the future of Esperanto in the USA, right? So that's the topic. If we vote to approve this committee of the whole, and we will discuss it until 6 p.m. And until 6 p.m., that means that no one can stand up and say, I would like to vote that we, begin to discuss the budget. Or I would like to vote that Esperanto-USA use its capital to support zebras in South Africa.
No,
Right? There is a set topic, but the rules are essentially suspended so that can be discussed in a way that is more beneficial to the body.
I'll second this, with the caveat that I think somebody said earlier, I think it's a good discussion to have when it's more officially announced to anybody else, maybe at
And we can also,
this that would like to attend.
I can still go talk to the local co as soon as I leave this room and say, can we have another session officially added to the program where we can discuss this?
But procedurally speaking, right, the reality is that everybody's gotten their Congress book. And that Congress book is the official way that people are informed about things in the Congress. And the fact of the matter is this was not planned early enough. And so there's always going to be a problem of people who are interested not knowing about it and not coming.
However,
Right? But so we can all we can do is the best we can do, and there's already a critical mass of members of Esperanto-USA here, in my opinion.
Yep. Like, frankly, we've got an embarrassing percentage of the members of Esperanto-USA in this room right now. And I say embarrassing because we just have that here.
How many members we have?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember. I think it might be around 5 right now.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so, all right, we have a vote, we have a second. Do we want to discuss more or go to the vote? You're the vice president, so you get to decide things.
Is there any other discussion points before we vote on doing a committee of the whole right now to discuss this?
What's the motion?
The motion was committee of the whole, guided by Hans, so to talk about the future of Esperanto in the USA until 6 o'clock.
Can I get a clarification on that topic? Is it about Esperanto in the USA or Esperanto-USA, the organization?
Yes.
Say both.
Discussing the future of Esperanto in the USA
It's
would
very
probably include the work of Esperanto-USA, one would hope.
This one we sure. All right. Are we doing call?
I'm ready to, I call to vote that motion. All in favor, raise your hands. All right. All opposed, now raise your hand. Believe it passes unanimously then, with everyone who's present. Great, and I'm videotaping this so you can be exact wording of these motions and who raised their hands and stuff later. Hans, okay, please guys.
So for those of you who don't know me, the reason that I volunteered to do this is because I have a lot of experience facilitating these kinds of discussions as a part of my general work. So I do want to recognize, however, that if you would be more comfortable addressing this question in Esperanto, I am happy to provide a translation. I know that in the United States, although English is our predominant language, there are those who do not have English as their native language or even their primary language. So if you would prefer to speak in Esperanto, se vi preferus paroli en Esperanto, mi volonte tradukos mian diron en la anglan, post tiam kiam vi estos dirinta tion. As you know, this is an informal discussion about the future of Esperanto in the USA. So I want you to imagine a situation where you would be happy, you would feel good about where Esperanto is in the United States. Right? So what would that look like? And I don't want, there would be green rainbows that covered the sky. Right? I want something that's measurable. I want something that's concrete. But it doesn't have to be, necessarily so precise. It can be kind of big. So who would like to give us an idea? Chuck names.
I would be happy if 80% of the people who live in the U.S., when they heard the word Esperanto, knew what it is. I could have said 100, but we'll leave it at 80.
Okay. And I want to ask the body a question. How many of you think that we're even at 20% right now? Raise your hand if you think we're at 20%. That if you went up to 100 people on the street of your town or city, that 20% of them, who thinks 10%? Raise your hand if you think 10% of people would know.
Maybe.
Okay, raise your hand if you think 5% of people would know. Yeah, I think that's about right. Right? So this is a lot of work. This is a 75% increase. So Chuck's given us some hard work ahead of us. Who else would like to? Rachel.
I think a good measure of success would be if every regional area that we distinguished in the USA had a group that was active in it at least once a year.
If each region had at least one group that was active at least once a year.
Sure, Boris.
So,
We have a coordinator.
I know, I love that.
so
But not every region. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, if you think that every region already has this, then we can make it more specific. It'd be like
Every
major
region has a
metropolitan area.
coordinator, but not every region necessarily has a group. The coordinator is there, as I understand it, as a support person for the groups, but if the groups aren't active, then that one coordinator doesn't have much to do.
Okay, so we're still brainstorming. We're not talking about the actual specifics, right?
one clarification, it's not knows Esperanto, knows that Esperanto exists.
Yes, you're correct.
Not too eager.
Knows what it is, right?
I'd like 80% of people in this room to know Esperanto.
So I just wrote up there, konas nescias. Right, so there you go. Yes.
Hi, Bill. I mean, I like starting small. I think that it would be great if those with active groups were excited about inviting others into the Esperanto movement. Or, obviously, there are some of us that are Esperantists that are very excited about it. But there are plenty of people that know Esperanto that are not excited. That, aren't.
You need to reactivate these people.
I think Barbara had the next hand raised.
Yeah, Barbara.
Yes, I attended the session hosted by Kathleen Kovats about the CARE examen, or the CEFR exams that are being hosted for people who want to take a test and become an official B1, B2, C1, or even a C2 Esperanto speaker. I would be happy if at least 50% of the Esperanto-USA members had that kind of diploma.
What kind?
As Abe said, he would first the Esperantists should learn Esperanto. Some Esperanto speakers admirably start these Duolingo events, these Duolingo classes for teaching Esperanto, but first it would be very helpful if they could prove their knowledge of Esperanto.
We'll come to you, Orlando, but I saw Chelsea's hand up first.
I think it would be so cool if every library had material. And not just like one very old book, but like not even just like, learning Esperanto, but material in Esperanto.
Okay, bravo.
Mi propono questa simple numero che vedeva scriviti e fai, trovi la significa. 1910. 1920. 1972. Demando sì.
Oh. Bonnet. So Orlando said, you all speak Esperanto, but I'll just translate it into English because I said I would. So Orlando sort of has given us a challenge right? To understand these dates and their relationship, and then also why there's a question mark. What's the next thing that's going to happen? Yeah, so this is a very interesting thing. I think Myrtis has the right idea. What does this mean? What happened in 1910? Okay, the very first Universal Congress in the United States, right, in Washington, D.C. Zamenhof himself was there, right? 1915, where was it? San Francisco. 1972, where was it? Portland, Oregon, right? So this is almost 2 times my lifetime ago, right? And I see a lot of young people in the room. This is actually the meeting I've been to with the most non-retired people in it of any meeting I've been to in this conference, right? So it might be possible that some of you were there in 1972, but a lot of us were not even here on this earth.
Raise your hand if you, or did any of you go to that?
Yeah, who was there in 72? Okay, so
There in the world or there in the Congress?
there in the Congress. Yeah, okay, so none of us were there.
We did have one person from, 2 people from North Texas over there.
You did have 2 people from North Texas, but none of them are here. Okay, so the future would be, I think, right?
Las Vegas 2025.
What happens in Vegas?
Grant.
Yeah, I love Ronald's point. I was thinking of something similar, like the last Congress in Canada was in '83.
Yeah.
I was not born in '83. I had 2 years left to still debate. Like, I would like for it to not be a literally once in a lifetime thing to have a major Esperanto conference in North America, or for people to be like surprised, like other Esperantists to be like surprised that there might be one in North America. And then one other thing, in college I got to visit Brazil, and I went to the Brazilian Lato Congresso, which was a week long and had 400 participants. And every day had all kinds of interesting activities. There was a youth conference that was part of the week-long Lato Congresso in Brazil. And I think Brazil is a very interesting comparison because it's a similar size to the US. They all speak pretty much one language. Their neighbors speak a very similar language. So it's not like Europe where, yeah, okay, you're in Slovakia, you go to Germany, and you gotta change languages. Like, they're in a very similar situation to us.
Yeah.
They have a thriving and vibrant Esperanto movement in Brazil. And I would like to have something similar to us.
So a Congress that's more vibrant, or a movement in general that's more
Well,
vibrant?
both, but to get something concrete, could we imagine a week-long Lato Congresso that's chock full of all kinds of different programming? With 400 people.
Yeah, it's not just business. Also
Yeah.
Well, and I think you might know that if you know a few demographic facts, right? What's the population of Brazil? 2/3 of the population of the U.S., basically. So, 400 participants should be way easier for us to get. Okay, yes?
Like a better website, like a centralized website with not just Esperanto-USA's resources, but there's so many great resources. You've got a YouTube channel, you've got a YouTube channel, he has a YouTube channel, there are great Esperantists doing great work out there.
Yeah.
Mafia and Gondolando, is that USA? No, but is it a really good resource? Yeah, so, we could have just a really robust, page that leads people down a rabbit hole of Esperanto.
If we have an applause for that idea.
Yeah. And I would just like to say, right, with regards to that, we may be getting some significant support from UEA because they have a new administrative system that they plan on making available also to the national sections. That's going to be very robust.
Does that mean that it's going to be like the UEA website?
No, it's going to be like the UEA website that's in beta, which I have seen, and I'm sure Raul has seen it, and some other people have seen it, but most of you have not seen it.
What's your opinion?
My opinion is that it is really good, and more importantly, the structure behind it is very well tailored for the Esperanto movement. But that's
About the website, I haven't posted this to others because they were like, well, let's look at it first. I made a recording right before I headed off here because I renewed my membership specifically to make sure I could vote in time, but I guess I didn't renew it the right hour, I guess. When I went to renew my membership, I noticed that the link, if I copied that link, I opened an incognito tab, and then posted it, I was logged in through that same link in an incognito tab. And if I sent it to Rafa, he was able to see, oh, Alex, welcome back. Would you like to change your password now? So our website currently has structural issues. I literally made a recording of it and I sent that in Slack to the board and be like, is this something we can change in 48 hours or less, or what in the world? And yeah, we need to look into that, is as far as it went. But I mean, maybe I need to post that. I don't know, should I post that little recording of, hey, don't use our website. Still donate, but not now. I don't know. That's scary to me, just from that website's so old, it's structurally dangerous potentially. Yeah.
And to clarify, that the website we have now was made in the span of less than a week when our old website suddenly crashed. I think it was actually made in the span of less than 48 hours when our old website suddenly crashed and we go, shoot, we need a website. So, like,
To be fair, it's not the worst website I've ever seen.
Right.
but it might look like.
It's not GeoCities.
To go along with, so that's one point, just, yes, the website updating is crucial for that sense. And a second thing that goes along with, in the USA, we've got YouTube channels and all that. I really want Usono to not be a dirty word in Esperantujo. And right now, in many ways, it is. You'd be surprised how many people reached out to me and said, do you really want to call a film festival something with Usono in the title? A lot of people have, colonial ideas about it, or like it has a negative, it's almost like, it's just, there's a negativity attached to it. For some people, for others, it's just a turn up your nose at the runs of the litter in a sense, which I think in some ways, we're not, at full mast right now, and it's obvious. But I want Usono to be, oh yeah, those guys do good stuff too, which is why I try to have the film festival be the first thing of, oh, they've done some impressive, you got that many films made from all over the world? Cool. So that's why, no, we're not going to call it the Zamenhof Film Festival. It's Usono is going to be in the title of it. But
So American Exceptionalism.
Exactly.
All right, Myrtis.
What I'd like to see is a clear reason for people to join Esperanto-USA. We have a small group in Cincinnati. There's, I think, 7 of us now. And I have a hard time articulating what they get out of belonging to Esperanto-USA.
That's the exact same thing that I'm feeling. Speaking of getting something out of something, I noticed you wrote 50% of the members have an Esperanto exam. I was saying it's more important that they have an Esperanto certification. Catalan Code as compared to having a driver's license to prove your capability. Yes.
So one might be able to dispute whether that's marketing or, the actual truth. But yeah, bravo.
Mi volevo sui commenti segue al filo che ci dirigi. Cioè, mi stare su tieca e riguardo alla diversa afferro che dici. Kiel ni egmetas en nian labor kutimon ne reinventi la rado, ne reveni la afero kiu ni jam faris. Exemple, tiu reasons to join Esperanto-USA es la mia parolado en la lasta ĉeesta kongreso en Bostono antaŭ la pandemio. Ĝuste tiu paroli, es longa prelego pri tio. Do, se estus iu retejo kie mi, iru tie kaj legu, tio jam estus helpe. Do, tio estas parto de havi retejon kun enhavo kiu ne maljuniĝas kaj povas esti fare.
So I think Orlando was the president of Esperanto-USA for a while, and also then afterward gave this lecture about reasons to join Esperanto-USA. And I think, it is important for us to have the historical perspective, to not reinvent the wheel. That's sort of what he's saying. Brandon, I saw your hand, and then we'll come to you out.
Yeah, I think, Orlando, that's a very good point. I would be interested to see that. I think one of our problems is that we have a hard time as an organization communicating that to new members or to members who weren't there, right? I've heard from people who are lifelong members who say, if I hadn't paid the lifelong dues, I would renew my membership. And I think there's a lot of people who just don't renew their membership. So it's not just reasons to join, but reasons to renew.
To stay.
Yeah, and I think we absolutely do need to use the resources like that presentation, but find more ways to communicate those, and also as an organization, do an active job, a better job of recruiting and retaining members. Right. Part of that is doing the actual phone calls, doing the postcards, and part of it is showing, hey, here's all these reasons, you know, things that are happening.
I just want to quick mention before Hans moves us on. We do have a membership committee, and if you and they are frankly probably our most active committee right now. So if you have any ideas regarding how to attract or retain members for Esperanto-USA, please email the membership committee. They are dying to hear from you about this exact topic.
Yes, I'm a member of the membership committee.
You are, yes. On that note, I proposed an idea, I don't know, I'd be curious to hear the room's thoughts on it, of having a member of the month program several months ago. Of, hey, all it takes is 1 or 2 volunteers who's in charge of, you know, responding to a new Gmail free account of, you know, member of the month, you know, whatever, anno@gmail.com. They receive nominations, or, you know, people can say, hey, I think the leader of our local club here is doing a great job, they've been a member for this long, etc. And then they present the nominees to the board can vote. Every month we have a new person, and then they get their picture and a short bio, maybe a couple, you know, standard questions. You know, how did you learn it? What's the best event you've been to in Esperanto land? All that, whatever. But then it just features on our website, and then slowly but surely you can see who the members are and see some fun facts about them. And we can even have a separate page, kind of where it shows like past presidents and past board members, where it's eventually becomes an almanac of just these members of the month. It didn't get a lot of traction when I mentioned it. It was, well, how do we know that we're not going to keep getting the same people nominated or candidating? You know, well, I don't know. I mean, we can just ask for more candidates. But it didn't really keep sputtering much further than that. But if you guys would like that, let us know.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I don't think it has to be like, Brandon's member of the month for October, and Chelsea's member of the month for November, and then Brandon again. I mean, it could just be a featured member of the month. Let me tell you about this member. But I think it's a great idea, and I think that we should just have lots of great ideas working together, especially for the retention and the membership. A committee is fantastic, and I think that's great, but a committee is not going to be the ones that are going to be recruiting every single person in the United States, like, we are.
Perhaps there should be a cap of a person only being member of the month once a year.
Well, I don't want to get too far into the weeds, right? Because I would hope we'd be able to have people be member of the month, like, only once in a lifetime, because we would have more than the number of members we have now. Do people have more sort of broad proposals about the future of Esperanto? Rachel?
I think we should do more to support families with small children in Esperanto.
Fair.
Because we talked about bridging the age gap. Well, I have 2 small children, and my parents were able to watch them for this week, but a lot of other Esperantists I know who have small children are like, well, I can't go to because my toddler doesn't know Esperanto, and they wouldn't want to go to the common.
Perhaps more help for those who have small children. For example, Katie wanted to go to the conference, but she couldn't come because logistically things would have been a bit more difficult for her and her small child to come.
Absolutely, we'll talk about that. Chuck?
I'd like to ask the question which hopefully will create more ideas, and that is, and this is following up on what Humphrey said about, the question really is not what Esperanto-USA can do for you, it's what you can, what are you willing to do?
Yes.
And so, and I'm thinking in the context of, what value does Esperanto-USA bring? And I would like to hear if others think Esperanto-USA can build a vibrant community with opportunities to serve, to do fun things, to get together and meet. I think Esperanto, that's what value Esperanto-USA can bring. The old days are gone, I believe, where people would just join an association to be a member. That's not the 21st century.
Well, yes. You had your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I saw it.
Okay, I was just saying that maybe like more US-based online events and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like the stuff the North London group does, like with classes. And also like if there was more stuff in the Venture server from US-based groups. Like pretty much everything I do online is with Canadian groups. I'm like an honorary Canadian.
Yeah, the North London classes were
Yeah,
key for us.
They're
And
great.
that's how we met. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
really fun.
Definitely great work by Anna Lowenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, okay.
Thank you.
To add on to the part about making the website and blow up, I thought I was going to get into developing even like a monthly podcast. Because a lot of how I got the courage to even come to this event was listening to different Esperanto podcasts done by the Australian group or Polish or whoever. Just listening to that, you know, during my commute gave me the confidence to even come.
Yeah. Okay. Is anybody who not spoken who would like to contribute? Rafa.
I'd like to see more cultural activities like literature contests or maybe publishing books, stuff like that.
There was someone who was going to publish some old Esperanto books in Toronto.
Yeah, Esperanto is still working on that, as I understand.
I think it's important to go back to 1900 or something like that.
That's talking about the magazine. We're talking about books, yeah. Because he's still working on publishing some books, yeah. But that's close, right? Fred? That's what he told me.
Yes.
That we're close, yeah. So I think that's on me. But then this is one of those things, right? You get somebody who helps. How do we communicate to people that it's on the way and it didn't die? Yeah. Go.
I'd like to see. I'd be happy to see Esperanto mentioned positively in the news media at least one time a month.
Wow.
And how would you say, if you have a Google News alert out on Esperanto, what would you say the mix between positive and negative mentions is? Anybody have an idea?
It's better now.
It's better now than it used to be, but most often Esperanto is used kind of metaphorically as an idea for something whose day came and now is gone. Right? So, okay.
I have spoken, but I haven't actually been.
Okay. Let's go to Carter, and we'll go to you, Mitchell.
To second the idea from over there about doing more things online, I think it would be cool if we had more classes than one a year or 1 week, because, or maybe concretely to put it in a story form. If I'm a new Esperanto speaker in the United States and I want to learn about it, I can learn through Esperanto-USA or have some connection to educational resources more than NASK.
Definitely. So I'll come to you, but we're going to do Mitchell first.
I would like to see in the U.S. Esperanto maybe groups active in their communities in other ways that aren't related to Esperanto. So I'm thinking like community cleanups where the local Esperanto group goes out and does a cleanup one morning, or like maybe even bigger than that, like a 5K, right? We've got 5Ks for every other little thing in the world. We can support local high school through 5K. Why not? Esperanto, people will come, and we can give out information. Oh, what am I running for today? Esperanto, what the heck is that? Here's some information. Not only Esperanto.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There are dozens of magazines and other groups that are focused on the survival of humanity, on the future, climate change, etc. I think that if we got articles into some of these publications that connected Esperanto to the oneness of humanity and the need for unity in this world in order to face our challenges, there's just all kinds of outlets that are publications that we could be getting articles into.
Well, thank you all for your assistance in this. We could continue ad infinitum, but I think what we have here is something very helpful as we start to think about our work. But I wanted to say one thing. So I heard from you, Fred, this idea that we don't need more activities, we need volunteers. Exactly. But I think the reality is that if you don't have activities that people are excited about, people don't want to volunteer. Right?
If you don't have volunteers, you can't have activities.
It's a question of, how are you going to how are we going to keep something going or even get something started, right? And so I want to ask you a question. If Esperanto-USA were to do, let's say, 3 of these things, 3 things that we thought were really important from this list, raise your hand if you would be willing to volunteer, help out. You know, come to Zoom meetings, do stuff, right? And please, don't raise your hand just because of social pressure, right? So if you put your hand up, I'm gonna know who you are. Right?
I doubt whether I'll be able to follow through.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, everybody has different gifts. But I think, okay, that's really helpful. There's a lot of stuff up here, and so to help us prioritize, this is what we're going to do. Everybody is on the honor system, and they get 3 votes, but they can't vote for something that they came up with, right? Because of course, then everyone's going to vote for what they came up with, and, or maybe some people wouldn't, and that would skew the results. Oh, I'm going to read them out loud when we vote. Do you want me to read them out loud now?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start on this end. Member of the month, bridge the age gap, support people with small children, articles connecting Esperanto to humanity, fix the problem that Esperanto is a dirty word or that the U.S. is a dirty word in Esperantujo, that there are reasons for people to join the USA, cultural activities, podcasts, film festivals, those sorts of things. Every U.S. library has material in Esperanto. Universal Congress in the United States. Week-long Lambda Congreso with interesting content and 400 participants. Esperanto mentioned positively in the media. This is related to that. A better, secure website where we share existing resources. 80% of Americans know about Esperanto. All the regions of the U.S. have one active group meeting at least once per year. Groups invite new people and build excitement from the inside. 50% of Esperanto-USA members have an Esperanto exam according to the CARE system. More U.S.-based online classes and events. Groups active and visible in the community. Okay? So again, vote for 3. You're on the honor system, so, you know, I used to live in Chicago, that's where I became an Esperantist. Don't be like us. You get 3 votes, not more, but also not less. So we're going to do.
Not less? So if you like are like these 2, and
then you can put 2 votes in 1.
Oh.
But you can't put 3 votes in 1 because you only have 2 hands. If you have more than 2 hands, I would like to see you after. There are people who do. You can be member of the month. Okay, member of the month. Okay, how many? Secretary. Okay, bridge the age gap. Support people with small children.
Oh wait, I can't vote for my own thing. It's a member of the month.
That's correct. You can't balance. Thank you for understanding the rules. Articles connecting Esperanto to humanity. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. Usono not a dirty word in Esperantujo. Wow, I feel so alone. You clearly weren't in the committee of UEA with me.
Alex, wasn't that your idea?
That was my idea.
I don't have any ideas. I'm just the one who writes the ideas now.
I just want to point out, you all heard it, it's on video. Hanso just said he doesn't have any ideas.
I am devoid of ideas. Reasons to join Esperanto-USA and to stay. Okay? Yeah, seems like awkward. Cultural activities / podcasts. Don't use all your votes in one place.
Yeah.
Or do. Every U.S. library has material in Esperanto.
I get 3 votes.
Every U.S. library has material in Esperanto. What sort of library or?
Every library. Yeah.
I'd be open to this.
Okay. Open to it. Okay. All right. Universal Congreso en Usono. Okay. Okay. All right. That's awesome. Week-long Lambda Congreso with interesting content and 400 participants. Okay. Nice. Looking good. Esperanto mentioned positively in news media. Better, secure website where we share existing resources. Okay. 60% of the U.S. population. 80%. 6. Why did I come up with 6?
You can't read your own handwriting.
I can't. It's amazing I'm not a doctor. 80% knows about Esperanto. Okay. Regions of the U.S. all have one active group meeting one time annually. Okay. Groups invite new people that build a site. Uh, 50% of EUSA members have an Esperanto exam, according to the CARE system. Okay. More US-based online classes and events.
Yeah. Everybody uses
That's my third vote. Groups active and visible in the community.
Okay, so we have some pretty clear winners.
All right, so it is obvious that we have 3 that have an abundance of support that are over 10, right? So that would be that there are reasons to join Esperanto-USA and stay, cultural activities and podcasts, and more US-based online classes and events, right? So what's an interesting thing that we can find out from this? One of the focuses that we've had in Esperanto-USA for a while now has been on strengthening local groups, right? But you can see here that some of the things we have about local groups were not that popular. And I wonder how many of you are a part of a group that has, you know, a local component to it, right? So you're in a place where there's a local group, right? So it's not that people aren't in local groups, but either the local groups are functioning very well and there's nothing we would want to change, or they're doing very little, and it's hard for us even to imagine a future where they have a different role than they do now. That's what I mean. I see that as kind of the 2 possibilities, right? But so you know, I think that these are 3 things that we could probably do. So the question is, what connections can we make during the Congress, and what tasks can we give to the board so that these things get done, right? And what my proposal would be that we have sort of informal meetings about these 3 things, because I think it's very reasonable for us to think that out of this Congress, these 3 things might come.
So, we have 4 board members here, and dear God, am I prepared to help with more US-based online classes and events. I am unnecessarily qualified for that.
Yes, you are. Woo!
So,
technically, we have 5 board members. We run out and grab Ryan.
That's true. That's true. But we have 4 that are in this room right now. So, if anyone wants to help with the more US-based online classes and events, come find me. Do we have any of our other board members that can say, come find me about one of these other 2?
I think it makes sense for me to do the cultural activity podcast one, since I'm
You're
doing
already
that for us.
All right. If you want more cultural activities.
And that might include, like, you know, being more active on our Facebook page, having more posts coming
I don't think so. That's not a cultural activity. I voted for that, and
you don't think
I dispute that being part of the definition of a cultural activity. Yes.
Yes. I think, you know, while we're talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, but the point of what you're saying right now is to kind of start talking about how we might start working on these things. Right?
Yeah, so I think it's important for us to keep the board members in the loop, right? But I think that we have to remember that, you know, I was on the board of Esperanto-USA, and I felt sometimes like we were kind of alone out in the world, right? That there was nobody, that there were no volunteers, right? That it was just us, and we were facing all of these problems on our own, because you weren't all in the same room with us when we were meeting, right? I felt very,
Boy, howdy, y'all come up with great ideas when we're in the same room.
right? So that's why I think, with my point before about the importance of being in the same room, the importance of being able to have this kind of a discussion. I really feel like we came up with some good things, and the most interesting thing is a lot of these ideas are really good, right? But there's consensus about 3 of them, right? Or at least as much consensus as one could expect.
Don't throw away the other.
No, I don't think we're going to. But I think what I'm thinking more of is these are 3 things that there's so much excitement about right now that perhaps the Congress can do some work while we're here. I would like to see the board take these other things and put them on the back burner. And I'd also like to see the board work on the other meetings that we have scheduled for here. Right? And so maybe if we could free the board, I don't want to give you guys too much work because you also want to enjoy yourselves. Right? Would it be good for us to, I think the 2 of you are excited about these things, but do we want to appoint like a chair that's not a member of the board or a convener to convene people about this? One of each of these 3 things? Maybe start a group in Telegram.
Do we want to have, raise our hand for volunteers now that you've said what you would like Esperanto-USA to do? Which of these 3 things are you willing to personally?
I think that's a good question, right? So, reasons to join Esperanto-USA and stay. Raise your hand if you'd like to be a part of a breakout group or a breakout session about that while we're here.
Brainstorming session?
Hold on. All right, I'm gonna need y'all to call out your names because I'm gonna go tell Fred on all of you.
Can you restate what you're asking for?
Sure. So these are people who are excited, would like to meet about this particular topic while we're here in Montreal.
Like a working session, right?
So it's going to be a working session. It's not going to happen during one of these meetings. It's going to happen at another time and another place that will be determined either by the board or perhaps by one of you that will serve as a convener, right? But
I saw Carter.
yeah, so reasons to join Esperanto-USA instead.
Barbara, what was your name?
You should be. We have a question over here.
Not volunteering question, but badly it's related. Is it important that the groups don't have the same people in them, or?
No, you can serve on as many
Also,
groups.
hey, real quick, they said 6 o'clock they have to close the salon. I said, how about 6 o'clock in 2 minutes?
Yeah, we got
Yes.
That is not what they told, that's not what Normando told me.
They will, they'll run us off.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
it's the whole building.
he told me that the whole building closes at 10 because it's Monday.
But the salon,
Loves it. Okay, well, he misinformed me, but he's the president of the local co. So,
and real quick, because I'm going to look you up later, who will want to meet up or try to reach out to about cultural activities and podcasts before all is said and done? Charlotte, please move so I can see names and hands and all that stuff. Okay, great. And please find me.
and how about people who want to work on online classes and events?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Come talk to me as we're leaving the
Maybe in the corridor. We're technically leaving the room, but in the corridor, find Charlotte.
We have ample documentation of this.
Yeah, you can go ahead and ring.